Hello everyone, Gerone Wright here, and it's obviously that you're looking at a older painting of Christ hanging on the cross. What I want to do here today is that I want to do the decodings of this image in relations to the tomb lid of Lord Pacal. It's my position that the image of Christ there on the cross and the symbolizations there around are very much similar to that of the tomb lid of Lord Pacal. Okay, now in doing this and showing you the similarities, I'm going to take and I'm going to bring you to first the cross, okay, that Jesus is hanging on. First of all, it's my findings that the cross represents the cross-referencing of human genetics. Well, human and animal, of course, but the cross-referencing of genetics, that's what the cross means. You have never heard that before. And in utilizing in that reference, I found that the cross represents the cross-referencing of genetics, and that's why it's actually referenced. Okay. To some it may mean the symbolization of holiness and whatever have you, but I'm telling you that this, wherever you see this cross, there is a reference of cross-referencing of genetics, period. Now, as is the case with Lord Pacal, first of all, let me do this. Here, obviously we have the cross, okay? Let me make the comparisons as I go along here. Here, we have the cross with Lord Pacal. Okay? We have the cross. Now, let me go back to Jesus here. Maybe it'll be easier if I can just flip this up and give you the... Maybe it'll be much easier if we do that. Yeah, I think it will. Let's start at the top with Jesus first. Now, mind you that both men are dead, which is obvious, and both men, there's references of both men of their return, which I will later address. Okay, Jesus, which is I guess a self-proclaimed king, and Lord Pacal, which is King Lord Pacal. Okay, let's go up here to the top. These little objects right here, little bulb-like objects on each side of the cross. See that? Look like little, remind me of them old little World War underwater mines. The shapes of them. World War III, those mines from the olden times that you actually would see. Okay, let's go down here. The same thing appears on the tomb lid of Lord Pacal, which are supposed to be deities. See them there on each side of the tomb lid of Lord Pacal? And then in the earlier image of that of Jesus. Now, I'm going to have problems with this. I can see that now. Right there. Now, there's a references of birds in both images at the top. Here in the image, earlier image of Jesus, first, I want to make this clear that these are what are supposed to be angels here. First of all, the wings are not even attached at the backs of the angels. The wings are actually up here behind the halobes. The wings are up here behind the halobes. Okay, they're not even attached to at the backs of these, signifying a whole nother different meaning there. First of all, but I'm not going to go into detail now. However, it makes the references of the bird, okay, at the top of the cross. Here's another symbol there. At the top of Lord Pacal's cross, there is a bird right there at the top of the cross, which represents the cross-referencing of an ancient genetic. Same exact thing as being referenced here with Jesus at the top, the cross-referencing of genetics at the top there. Now, let's come down here to Jesus' halo. It comes around right there. That's poor halo. Then you see little lines of separation in the halo right here at the cross. Let's go down to Lord Pacal. At his cross, we have the same exact thing, and then the lines of separation, a looping of genetic from one side of the cross to the next. The same symbolization and the same meaning that's actually described here. Okay, now let's go to where we at here. Where we at? I don't want to lose track. Let's go. The dragons on either end. That's looping over these dragon heads on both sides. Now, it's not shown here, but the snake, the serpent, is referenced in that of the body of Jesus. I'm going to bring you for that reference to the image of Nervi Hall. And you see the Pope down there, seated down there. See the Pope down there? This is my Nervi Hall image. This is on my YouTube video as well too. This mask, Nervi Hall, created, I believe, by Ferenzi, and Nervi Hall is named after the architect, which is a Nervi. But the structure was created by Ferenzi. However, I've realized that, and all I did was colored in people and highlighted and accented what was already there. I put the eye there and just colored in the white teeth, but this serpent is already there, already down to the snake-like, you know, how the scaly features around the mouth. All of that is already there. All I did was just accent what is already there. You can Google the image and look for yourself. Okay? And it gives us our serpent, which identifies these creatures with that of everything that I'm highlighting and comparing between these two images. Okay, what else is there? Okay, let's go down to the Pinecone image. Let me put this here so this doesn't... I'm working upside down, people, so you got to bear with me. Let's go to the Pinecone image, which is right here, with these deity looking objects here. What they say, I'm using terminology that they're actually using. See that little Pinecone image right there on this side, which I've actually have a video out which suggests that these pine cones do not represent actually pine cones at all. They represent the tail of the rattler. Okay, I have a video out on that if you haven't seen, you should actually get over and see. Now, let me come here and show you that Pinecone symbolization. It's at the head of the staff here. That the little boy is actually holding there on the same side, which tells me that this symbol is a representation of this symbolization being made on either side of Jesus. Now, both men, Lord Pacal and Jesus, both appear in, well, actually clad in nude except for a wrapping around their body, their lower portion of their body. Another similarity. Now, let's go to Lord Pacal with this Pinecone image at his nose. You see there's an attachment there. And this is where the ancient alien theorists tried to say that it was some type of breathing apparatus. My findings are the fact that it shows you a genetic splicing or introduction of genetics that was actually cross-referenced and taken into Lord Pacal, which ultimately calls for his existence and genetic bridging. Now, is that reference made here? Of course it is. Here's the staff with the Pinecone image up. Notice how the dressing of Jesus, the garments of Jesus, cleverly makes contact here with the little boy. Now, you guys can't really see it, and I can draw it out for you, but it shows you the genetics. There's a little face there. Shows you the genetics where they were cross-referenced. They come into this direction. Shows you the staff. Okay? And notice how, now, by the way, people, in this image, for whatever reason, the two kids' faces are whited out. Okay? I don't have no idea why this actually happened, or if there was a symbolization in their face or something that shows something. But anyway, they were whited out for whatever reason, if you notice, on both sides. Okay? Now, notice how the boy head contacts this fellow behind him, and he has his finger at his mouth, showing you the genetic connection and the bridging and where these genetics went at. Now check this out. Come to the other side, and the same symbolization is actually made. Notice down here, the staff is hit here. You see the blue up there? Oh, hold on. The yellow from the staff up here, which represents the pinecone, whatever you want to say the pinecone, is actually shown in color held in the boy's hand, which the same exact thing is shown here. It shows you the connection at Lord Pacal's nose, and then it shows you his hand coming in contact with that pinecone image, showing you two levels of genetic bridging. You see it there at his nose and then at his hand. The same exact symbol or symbolization is being depicted here. The boy's hand here at it, and the boy's hand here shown held in his hand, and then it shows you here where it came in and then it was passed off, and the connection is actually made there at the mouth. On this side, check this out. The same exact symbolization is being made. There's a contact made here, okay, at the hand. You see the blue there, shows you that there's a contact here, and then back here it shows you at the nose, the hand at the nose. Here at the mouth, there at the nose, on each side. It shows you the past of these genetics. And we all know that in order for genetics to go, like with the common cold, at the mouths and at the nose, it's showing you the introduction of these genetics that were cross-referenced and how they were actually taken into the bodies in ancient form. This is how they actually described it in that of the ancient times. to show you how these genetics was actually bridged, where they went, and it's giving you the idea of how they went into the body. Okay, I'm sure if they had needles and all of that stuff there, they would have been held in it and you would have been chilled. But these are why the references of penises, and showing you that, I mean, penises are being made, showing you which kind of genetics is for blood, it's red, and then for penises and semen, it's white. You know what I mean? These colorizations are being made. Now, which brings me to here with Jesus, this hole in his body, right there, shows you the bloodline, and it shows you Jesus' genetics as far as his semen being depicted there as white from out of that womb. Now, if you don't believe that, I want to take you to where's my picture there? Okay. If you're disturbed by the fact that I'm telling you that that is semen coming out of his body, out of that hole there in that white strand, then see that's semen. How I can tell you that I positively identify that as being semen and blood and genetic bloodlines is because they boldly show you that here. It's showing you at the testicles here. I know what is being implied. That's why these symbolizations are being made, people. You got a clear picture of that? Okay, now that I got your attention, let me move that away, because I'm going to be talking about this image in another video. Okay, so I'm not going to include that in this one. Alright, so now it's showing us that these genetics, did I miss anything here? Oh, okay, let's go to the bottom here of this image, and you see there's a representation of, oh, you can't see. Well, can I bring it up a little? No, I can't. Let me back it up. There's a skull. There is a skull there. Okay? There's a skull. Skull and bones. Death and resurrection. Down here in Lord Pacal, you see representation of bones, and possibly for his time as well as the skull as well too. These representations are made. It shows an evolutionary pattern from an ancient genetic that these guys evolved from. And I know what this is, and I know what this references is actually being made. Now, both images, people, Lord Pacal and Jesus, there's mention of them coming back. I can vouch for you that both men are definitely coming back. Jesus is coming back, and Lord Pacal is coming back. You know why? Because neither one of these men never left. They actually never died. And you know why? Because genetically, their genes still exist. These men, just like many others, which is being practiced in a cult-like ritual today, actually discovered that their genes placed in other bodies actually grow into, let me carefully word this. They take over the body in a certain period of time of the body that they're placed in, which brings them back what Jesus will be again in other people. Let me see how I can, almost like in a sense, I'm almost like a body snatchers, but taking thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Just cutting through the chase. You know what I mean? Because these men, the return of these men, just like George Washington said it, that he believed he would return, just like Nostradamus said it, that he would return. These men knew that genetically they could return. And their secret, I know, on how they were actually planning on doing it. Well, actually how they are going to do this. And this is why these genetic bridgings and these genetic alterings of mankind, that's what all of these symbolizations are about. And there are people that know this today, beginning with that of the Vatican. They know how these genetic alterings and manipulations, at a certain point in time, when done at a certain time, they know in timing exactly, or in the area or in the time frame, that these genetics take over in one's body, and these people are resurrected. And that's what resurrection, death and resurrection, and coming back and reborn, that's what this is all about. Now, why would, if I'm not on point, people, with what I'm stating, how come there are so many identifiers that are here in Lord Pacal's tomb, which is in a completely different time of that of Jesus, but yet mark almost identical symbolizations in each scenario? I talked to you about blood, color, and penises. And semen. And yet there is a penis, which represents Jesus' DNA. What other ways are there to symbolize genetics of that of the penis, semen, our blood? You're shown blood, the semen, the main genetics that are spread to actually do recreation. These are why these symbolizations are actually being made. Well, I'm going to leave you with that. Again, I am not the best narrator for this, okay? I'm giving it to you in layman's terms. I know what is actually being done. However, I will need for a scientific team to come in and actually take what I tell them and what is going on and apply it to that of, in scientific terms, and explain it in scientific terms on what is going on, to where it would actually be accepted in a scientific way. All I can do for you right now is show you the pictures that I can read and know what their meaning is. Now, for it to become scientifically presented to you, I would need my team, which I'm sure and confident that one day I will have, and all I would do is have to point them to exactly what it is that I can see and understand, and then have them present it to you in a scientific way that it would need to be presented. But there's no way, people, that I can give you the bird, the cross, the serpents, a dead being claiming to be resurrected, bones, death, and resurrection. These little deities, okay, on either end. The cross referencing of the cross there, okay, at the center point, and then shows you how it's bridged over, which means bridging. Same exact thing with Jesus, the cross, the bridging, okay, which is disguised in the halo. I would not be able to give you these things. The birds, you know what I mean? Those little deities with the little faces inside. Look, people, the same exact thing with Lord Pacal. But yet nobody claims that they knows what none of this means. But yet here you have artists later use this, having the same symbolizations in their artworks. People, this stuff is known all along. Genetic bridgings on mass scales, which is actually occurring today, requires a record. Here are the records, people, in artwork. Look at this. I mean, think about it for a moment. Until I come along and start explaining these Renaissance artists' artworks and artworks, please tell me what kind of sense that you make of this right here. Please tell me. None of this goes on today. I mean, are we that foolish that we do not see through this? None of this stuff goes on today. And look at this. Look at the artworks of some of these artists. The nonsense that is in them that, I mean, that you accept. It is nothing more than an ancient cult ritual which details specifically in sequential order the genetic bridging of our kind and where the direction of these genetics are going. Genetic bridgings. That's why it shows you how these contacts are being made. Like I showed you here at the skirting of Jesus, how this boy is shown down at his lower level, how these genetics are these touchings are made in, and it shows you how these genetics are jumped in and where the direction that they're going. Implications of what's going on with these genetics. These gestures showing you the contacts. And this is why you see these contacts at these different levels. And it shows you at different levels that these genetics were actually exchanged between the beings on either side. And that's what's so important about all of this. You look at this for what it is. Jesus on the cross. He's cross-referenced. What is he cross-referenced with? It's shown you up here, down here, and down the middle, and then at the bottom. At each leg of the cross, it's shown what he is cross-referenced with. If you were to sit there and read the message. People, don't be foolish. Don't be stupid. You know what I mean? You're being shown the truth. And every detailed description globally, the same message is being said. Not just with the tomb lid of Lord Pacal. It's in everything around us. Each one of these decodings that I make is linking one another. They are all interlinking. Every one. This is identical to this. It's just that as it became later, well, besides this, they got more clever with the message that is being told. These people here, this existed first. These people here traveled the world globally. And I mean, I'm talking about the ancient roots of the Vatican. Christianity. They have a world knowledge. They gathered upon a world knowledge. Most of the things that they put out, they claim they don't have no knowledge of. Christianity doesn't even tell you what the cross means. It's just a symbolization of religion. I'm telling you that it's a symbolization of a cross-referencing of genetics, which makes a whole lot more sense if you think about it. Now, how come I can do this, people? And you have the same symbolization. I'm telling you cross-referencing of genetics, and you have the same representations of this in ancient Mayan history. In Egyptian, you have the ankhs, or the whatever that thing is, the ankhs or whatever. And and that would actually be right here, at this point. The Egyptian ankhs would be right in there. Another form of cross and cross-referencing. Adolf Hitler and his symbolization of the S's. I mean, all of these things that are showing you a cross-reference. I'm telling you, people, that you need to wake up and get with the program here, because this is something that's really tremendous. I'm out. My name is Jerome. You're watching my Jeronification channel. Thank you for watching.